We'll double check it. Let me pull up Facebook. There's always a couple minutes of this. Dustin, you double checking us?
Working on it, brother. Yes, it says we're live just now.
Hey, I got notification. You're going live.
Yep. Here we are. All right.
That means
Well,
Larry follows us.
there we go. All right. Sorry for the delay, everybody, but we're back. Red Hill Racing Podcast. I'm Ben Knight with Dustin Lee, and we are joined by a trio of icons in the sport. Super thankful to have Mitch Brown, Dave Vantine, and Larry McBride join us tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. It means a lot to us and to everybody that tunes in and watches. And we already had somebody say, "What's going on? Are we doing this?" I've been waiting all day for that. So that's a good sign if somebody's been waiting all day for this. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, doing fine. The snow has left upstate New York, so we're good.
That's
yeah.
good.
Now
That's
it's just
good.
raining.
Oh man, yeah. You'll
The
have
coolest
that.
thing about this podcast for me is this is like the elite bad boys.
I know. I
This
was
is some
I
of
was
the
excited all
fastest
day.
MFers there is. Not safe for work.
Yeah, we do have to say that. In case y'all don't know, Dustin and I we have our own pirate ship that we sail on the regular, so we'll try and keep it a little PG at best. But
We're all
why don't we
motorcycle
just
mechanics. I'm sure we've all said it.
yeah. Why don't we just kick off? How this all got started, getting back into NHRA and what that means to y'all. I mean, I know kind of for the last couple of years, it's kind of been in limbo, a place for you guys to race, which is just, I mean, it's a damn shame to be honest. So I know everybody was super excited because in my opinion, I know Dustin shares the same thoughts. Without Top Fuel Motorcycle, like that's what we've all looked up to, and that's just the pinnacle of speed on two wheels. So anybody want to get going on how that kind of came about and what it means
Larry
to y'all?
go. I mean, I think, Larry, better than I do. I know Larry and I sort of paved the way, it seems, for the last couple of years. Larry, please go ahead.
Oh well, I mean, the deal started back in 2019. Is when we really, and maybe a little bit before then, dealing with NHRA, and in January of 2020, and I'll give credit where credit's due. I went out to California with Jack, and we met with NHRA.
Yep.
And and everything was kind of an uphill battle from there. To be honest with you, it was everything was kind of going great, and then until 2020 hit, until the pandemic hit, and then of course, then things went to hell. And
the whole world went to hell. Not just that. Yeah.
Oh God, it just was crazy, and that's when things just started going downhill for us. We didn't have, next thing you know, we didn't have no place to race, and we're doing, just little stuff here and there. And to be able to finally get into NHR, we did some match race stuff, Dave and I, which was a lot of fun, but it ain't like racing. It's nothing like racing. And you guys, y'all know that better than anybody, because y'all are two of the greatest competitors I know, especially you, Dustin, as far as what you do. And because you race every friggin' weekend. Ben can't do that no more because he's got that baby. He got to go pick that baby up.
Got two babies, basically.
You got two babies, but you're trying to pay for them babies.
I was literally in my toddler's crib about 30 minutes ago, and I was like, "Man, please go to sleep. I gotta get out of here."
You was in your own jail, what? Yeah.
Oh, I was. Larry, what was like? You said everything was like kind of kicked off on a strong foot when y'all initially talked. What was the biggest holdup? Because, I think we all know, like, there's a lot of us that love, obviously, pro stock motorcycle and pro stock cars. Personally, I love pro stock cars. I grew up, like, that's my ultimate dream. If I can drop a clutch and start banging that Liberty 5-speed one day, like, my life would be complete. But I know, and most of the fans, especially more casual fans, nitro, flames, fire, feeling it in your chest. So to me, I mean, Top Fuel Motorcycle is a natural fit and should always be there. And I know that they had the Harley stuff, there for some years as well. But what was there did they let you know, or was there any kind of hold up per se?
No. I mean, we, between Dave, Mitch, and I, and a lot of other people that was involved in this deal. No, it was just, it was about getting the money, raising the money to get a class. And I mean, between all of us, I'd love to have $1 for every hour we've talked on the phone trying to organize everything.
Right.
And going to the PRI show, that's awesome to hook up everybody and try to get sponsors. I mean, and then the biggest deal was getting sponsors to do the class. And thank God for Pingle Enterprise. Thank God for my buddy.
Thank you, Pingle.
Oh God, Pingle's just awesome, man. I mean, what Wayne and Donna's done is just unbelievable.
They've carried Top Fuel on their shoulders for years.
They
really have.
They really have. They've done a great job. And then you had Trim Techs, Joe Conan. He stepped in. Has done a great job. He's been with me for a long time. You got Jimmy Brantley, which is a great friend of mine. He stepped in. Dave Vantine, another good friend, stepped in. Mitch, awesome. Mitch was just he's too busy. Mitch has been a one band show. Mitch, he's like me, man. He gives 110% on trying to get to the racetrack.
His investment sitting behind him right there. That's his part. I get it. That's a big deal, man. Just to have that, just sitting in your shop. That ain't just an easy thing to have,
Well, to be on here with these two guys and know what they've done for the sport and their love for the sport. And, Dave and I go back, I don't know how many years ago, but many years ago, we go back and we go so far back that Dave was headed to Gainesville one time, and a car came up beside him in his motorhome was saying, "Hey, you have lost something." He lost his trailer.
Oh, well,
yeah. Larry was very gracious. Not really. I finally, I found a welder. He put the trailer, he fish plated the trailer hitch back on the motorhome, and I get to the track, and Larry goes, "It can't be Dave Vantine. There's a trailer attached." I'm like, Larry, right now I don't need this, because I've been through hell and back. It was funny story quickly is some guy came skidding in a pickup truck, 57 Chevy pickup truck, and it said airbrushed on the front license plate. It said Pumpkin and Tater's uncle. And, they said, just get out. We got this. And State Trooper, had sent us over there, and, we got the thing hooked back up, and, away we went, a few hours later. So we were a little late. Thank you, Larry, for reminding me of that fateful day.
A real friend will kick you while you're down. You know what I mean? Like,
and Larry, he does.
Larry, wasn't Dave on your team for a while, and didn't he he lived in a cardboard box behind the shop, didn't he?
He did, yes. Dave.
Story that I heard.
Dave was on my team, and he called a lot of hell.
Bless your heart.
He will tell you we were probably one of the toughest teams out there. And Dave, and the cool part about it is we stayed friends after that. So that was awesome.
I made the mistake that the guy before me was named Dave.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So it was very easy for the McBrides to blame me because they didn't even have to change names.
Right.
It's always my fault, no matter what. And Steve McBride probably, got sick of me, because all I knew was gasoline, right? Nitrous, coming from the Pro Mod ranks. And, poor Steve, I'd say, well, in my world, it's fat. So take fuel away. He goes, no, we need to add fuel. And I'm like, you said it was fat. Why are you adding fuel? Well, I didn't know that nitro had two sides of the motor. What you take away and what you put in. I'm just gasoline guy. Yes, if it's fat, it's fat, and you take stuff away. If it's lean, you add fuel. Well, I asked Steve like, I don't know, 10 times. And Steve finally got impatient with me and said, you know what? Take everything you know about fuel and just throw it out the window. And let me tell you about nitro. And from that point on, I semi got it. So, I mean, Mitch, I got to say, he's, I don't know where he, what his past is or where he came from. I mean, I'm ignorant that way. I'm like, hey, there's a guy younger than me. Cool. I'm like, hey, Mitch, because everybody's like, aren't you a little too old for that these days? And I'm like, would it surprise you that I'm the youngest guy in the class? And then Mitch came along. I'm like, I'm no longer it.
Yep.
And then the new guy,
Go ahead.
The new guy's even young. He's like really young, right? Like the kid.
Micah?
Elmary's 22.
Or
Micah's like 50.
Elmary.
Yeah.
Elmary's 22.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Dave, you kind of segued into what I was going to get with Mitch on. I think I first met you, Mitch, when I ventured out to that PMRA, if I'm not mistaken. And gosh, that had to have been what, 10 years ago, maybe more.
11,
and,
probably, yeah.
Probably 12. And man, I just remember at the time, you had a badass, I think, top gas bike, and then you were riding, was it like a Pro Fuel style bike or like a Harley top fuel?
They were called Pro Fuel, but they were the injected high gear nitro Harleys.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to race both of those in an event that lasts one day and has 3 rounds of qualifying and 4 rounds of eliminations. About killed me.
I do remember that. I remember meeting you and talking a little bit, and then like of course, back then I ran probably 5 classes, so every time I came around, like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but you started off the day looking all sharp and ready, and then every time I came around and passed your trailer, like you were getting more worn down, more beat up, and it was just it was a saga.
I'm only 21 years old. Because all this stuff is into an old man.
But let's go from there, Mitch. Tell us, what was your passion in getting into Top Fuel, especially, going back to a time, like I could see it now, like let's fast forward, like hopefully in 5 years, we're 5 years strong NHRA Top Fuel motorcycle, right? But at the time and for the latter few years, what was your passion to get into Top Fuel when, it's not like right now where it's like, hey, they're racing NHRA, I want to do that. You just loved it so much that you said, I got to get into that one day.
I'll try to make the short version, of course. We could probably make a whole other deal out of that. But I was very fortunate to grow up in Wichita, Kansas, where the Truett and Osborne bike drags were. It's the longest motorcycle drag race in the world, I think. And we had a bunch of fuel Harleys every year. And I loved it, so a lot of guys didn't have all that maybe exposure at their local track to nitro bikes. And so eventually, I worked my way into helping Mike Bondmeyer, got to ride one of his bikes a couple times. And the whole deal with the 4-cylinder bike was I went to Valdosta one year. I'd raced Mike's Top Fuel bike there the year before. I didn't bring my top gas bike. I kind of just went to see you guys, all my friends, and I am just a huge fan of Top Fuel motorcycle. I'm just lucky enough to be racing with these guys, And then Sam Wills, I had been building some parts for this bike he was building for Dennis Bradley. And he had it there on display. And he was like, hey, did you see the bike? Yeah. Did you see Dennis Bradley? Yeah. He goes, if the opportunity came up, would you be interested in riding it? And I went, okay. My brain said no, and my lips said okay. And I was like, what are you doing? Because I was like, I didn't have any problem with the Top Fuel Harley, but I was like, I will never ride one of them 4-cylinder things. Them are crazy. And I just, out of my mouth, it just came okay. It was Sam and Mike Dryden, and I was like, if you teach me, I'll try it. And they really suckered me in because they were like, do you want to ride it? I didn't know that it would be now. I got to drive the semi to all the races. I got to fix everything. I got to fix everything on the trailer. I got to book all the hotels. They sucked me in by thinking I was going to ride it. Now I'm just a slave like Larry and Dave and Joe and everybody else.
Yeah. All of us drag racers are slaves.
Oh man!
But that's how that opportunity came up.
I got you. Well, I was
every
just curious. Yeah, I was curious. Like I said, to me, this is just
That's a
so
great story, Mitch. By the way.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, to not have such an iconic class running at the time in NHRA, like hopefully this progression and you guys back in there now, obviously we want to help grow it, and hopefully it leads to more people getting interested and racers moving up and trying to build things, and maybe one day they can have a 16 bike field or something crazy like that. That would be awesome.
Well, it's been kind of a subject over the last few years that we're older guys. A lot of drag racers are older guys. And we've all been conscious that we got to do something to continue on all of motorcycle drag racing that we love. And luckily we have this opportunity from everybody that Larry mentioned, to run the NHRA. And I think that's our best shot of hopefully growing the class.
For sure.
Yeah. My 2 cents worth is that, if NHRA doesn't, bring that kind of excitement or that kind of want, it can't be done. Now, like Mitch, when I grew up, with Elmer and Larry and, you name it, all the Top Fuel guys, that's who you wanted to be. And nowadays, currently, it seems like Pro Street is like the pinnacle, and that's people's goals, and the, people coming up through. So hopefully, we've paved the way with NHRA that, people will once again want to be, Top Fuel guys. And I've talked to, I haven't talked to Mitch a lot. I've talked to Larry. I've certainly talked to Greg and Joe and some of my guys. And, like Mitch said, at least on my team, we've agreed that it's time to, sort of pass the baton. And so, what we're looking for, I know Larry's got a young guy. Obviously, I think, Yaska is doing a good job with his kid at 22 years old.
Yeah, for
sure. We need to, feed the pipeline, so to speak, because at some point, we become consultants, and at some point we become coaches, and, we pass the baton, because that, I don't believe that it could be any other way, if we want this class to progress.
I want to be a little raw.
I agree with that.
The raw opinion for me is we just ain't got the balls. Y'all are crazy. Look, the V-twin Harleys, Nitro Harleys, I don't want to stand beside them. I've seen people end up on the ground beside them, so I'm out. But if you got to wire something to protect you from shrapnel, this old boy is not interested. But there's people out there that would.
You and I both know one though that would be a good fit. And he's a missing perfect a few
contestant. He's tall and dumb. What'd you say, Larry?
I think I know who you might be talking about.
Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer.
Spencer would be great for Top Fuel.
He would be. He's the right body size.
He's got more hair and beard than I got.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you what we're trying to do here, and we're trying to raise enough money for Mitch to get a haircut.
That's a fact. That thing just eats every dime that I get.
Yeah. So I ordered some forks today. I'm trying to help.
I appreciate it. I had to work all weekend to get those done because I was behind from that stupid motorcycle.
I knew you went Top Fuel racing. I'm like, I ain't even gonna bug this man. He'll get them to me when they're done. That's all that matters,
Yeah. Well, guys, tell us how the first event back went for y'all. What was it like? How did well, I mean, I was saying not exactly from a result standpoint, Larry, but look, I have to admit, overall
experience.
Yeah.
Like the people, the fans,
and look,
the part that I know you guys cherish, right? The fans and the people, and that's what you needed to feel as being out there in front of the crowd. You know what I mean?
I can tell you.
Yeah, for sure.
It was unbelievable. The reception and the acceptance from the fans was absolutely incredible for me.
Awesome.
It was, I can't really put it into words how good people were and how many autographs we signed, and, all the kids we met, and, Wayne and Donna Pingle had a great show. They had a little display set up at my trailer. They had an unbelievable show. NHRA come by my trailer on a few occasions and thanking us. And it was awesome. And other than the tech guy spending about an hour and a half on my bike, it was great. And then didn't mess with nobody else, but that's okay. They were just trying to learn about the bike. When it was a crazy, unbelievable show. We had a funny car guy parked right next to us. It was he just races. He's from Chicago, so he just races occasionally, but still was the whole team. They were just great. I just really can't.
Made new friends just like that. Bam.
Absolutely, it was unbelievable, and invited us over to eat, and of course, Vantine. Dave, he cooks every weekend for us, his people. I mean, so. But we had to actually turn down the funny car people. I said, well, we got dinner over here at Vantine's. We'd love to eat with you, but Jeannie, I'm not so worried about Dave getting mad, but I might be a little worried about Jeannie getting mad.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Of course, Mitch and them, they go to the hotel, so they sometimes they experience. To me, I love the racetrack. Unfortunately, Mitch has too many people to sleep in the trailer in the truck, right? Unless you have something set up like I have or like Dave has. So I love the experience of the racetrack. I'm kind of like you guys when y'all go. We all kind of stay at the racetrack, right?
Yeah.
One of the times that I remember that was fun hanging out with you after hours at the racetrack was a few of us may had some adult Kool-Aids. And we fired your fucking bike up like at 4 a.m.
Yes, we did.
And Andy was there, and we had a great time. Like it was like, fuck yeah, this is cool.
That's why I make my guys go to the hotel so we don't fire the bike.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, we were out of control a little bit, but it was a controlled environment.
Best memories. Those are the best memories. That's the only reason I do this is for the memories.
Yeah,
no doubt, man. It's special.
What about you, Mitch? How was the experience out there?
It was awesome. I've never been to Chicago. That's a beautiful facility, and I've always heard they only have like a couple races a year there, which is surprising to me. We did the Topeka exhibition last year, and I did about 5 or 6 of the Top Fuel Harley deals. I love it. It's crazy to me. Just like Dustin said, oh, you guys are crazy for riding those bikes. Well, I'm like you guys. I started on a 990 bike, and then I ran a 890 bike, and 820 bike, and so it just all gradually gets to where you're at. I mean, those Pro Street guys are going crazy fast, no wheelie bars, and they probably just think it's a walk in the park. But when the funny car guys and the Top Fuel guys come over, and they're like, "You guys are crazy," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? You guys are crazy." And they want to sit on the bike, and all their crew guys want to come look at it. That's just really fun to me, and really for my crew. My crew, they're like most everybody's crew. They're volunteer guys. They're taking their vacation time, and when they get people asking them about the bike and all this thing, that's the real fun part for me. As far as the whole experience. And we were treated really well. I mean, Ned Walzer is one of our main guys. He's the guy that told Larry that he ran the 599 at Houston. And when was that? 1999?
1999.
Ned was the NHRA guy that came down the end of the track and told him. And so Ned has been a huge help to help us get into this deal because of that long relationship that he has with Larry. And he loves the bikes. And he comes by and he texts us and he checks on us, and couldn't really ask for anything better.
He's very important, is what it sounds like.
That's so cool that you had Top Fuel and Funny Car team members and all coming by and checking out the equipment and wanting to sit on the bikes. That's badass.
Well, they know is when you dribble that nitro into an engine, it becomes a bomb, and they're laying on top of it.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Well, Mr. Vantine, what about you? I think we saved you there for last. I mean, you hoisted the Wally, so I think it was a good
horrible weekend.
It's one of those weekends where it wouldn't it's I guess you would say better lucky than good.
Hey, we're all racers. We know how that is. We'll take that anytime.
Well, Larry went out there and zipped the tire, and qualified number 1 and went out early. Mitch had lane choice, and I got lucky. First round, I believe Micah, passed off the spray bottle, and somebody filled it too far and didn't leave enough room, to pressurize the thing, so his bike wouldn't start. I don't know what happened to Jaska or El Mary in the final, but he had issues in the semis, right behind Mitch and I, and so whatever happened to his bike, I don't know. It's a cool looking machine, but it seems very complicated, looking at it. And, Larry, as you know, builds my engines. And so, sometimes less is more, maybe it's not as, doesn't have 7,000 gears on it. I don't know, I have no idea what happened. And so, we sort of had 2 gimmies. Larry and I try to qualify on opposite sides of the ladder. And we joke on Friday, we're well, we'll see you Sunday, with any luck at all. And, that's kind of the way it went, except, of course, Larry, didn't make it. He's usually giving me the business, because I messed up somehow, and he's like, you should have been in the other lane. I'm like, I know, Larry, I'm sorry. And, the McBrides, my girlfriend is pretty funny. She goes, why are the McBrides so good? I go, because they don't make mistakes.
They've been doing it for 40 plus years, 7 days a week.
And they've got more data than anybody. And
they made the mistakes. It was just 10 years ago.
We screw up. Mitch and I are, like I said, I was the young guy before Mitch. And Larry's out there, like you said, 40 years deep. And and that's the only answer I had was like, if he makes a mistake, it's rare, really rare. And and if I make a mistake, I just kind of Larry gives me the business, and we move on because I screwed up
a little bit.
And Larry, that and that's it. I mean, they don't make a lot of mistakes.
Now you can give him the business because he made a mistake.
Well,
even the best horse stumbles, I guess, but
I told Larry that's why we call it racing, not winning. Even the best. I mean, even Dustin had a bunch of issues and got his ass kicked around this past weekend. And hey, if it was called winning, then it'd be something different. You never know what's going to happen out there.
What was you saying, Larry?
Well, we blame it on the new guy. We hired we got a new kid that's working for us. He's 17 years old.
Oh gosh.
So good. Somebody else took my place.
Yeah. New guy. So it was all good though. It's wasn't real happy at top end, but you get over it. You just got to move on. You just got to move on and go to the next race. And we're going to Dinwiddie here next month. Just a few days. It's not long.
Home track for you, yeah.
Well,
so home track advantage.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking to Mitch today, and then let me tell you, he's got you're talking about somebody with his plate full. Lord.
I know.
His daughter plays softball, right? And I think he said they got like 8 games left. Is that right, Mitch?
She's got like 5 tournaments, but there's only like 4 days in between each one of them, and then she goes off to college. So I just want to spend as much time with her as I can.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Larry, something that was cool for me, and it probably wasn't cool for you, it was to hear you up there.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I thought it was cool to hear Larry up there announcing. Like, I was watching the NHRA TV, and I was like, well, this is, I mean, it sucks that he's not racing, right? We don't know this, but he just took the lemons and made lemonade and goes up in there and sits down and just goes at it. And if there was anybody better to be up there, I don't know who it is, because he's the perfect person to talk about Top Fuel Motorcycle, in my opinion. So I'm like, okay, it sucks that he lost, but this is still pretty cool that Larry's up there and announcing and shooting the breeze. And I just thought that was cool. I thought it was cool just to hear you up there, honestly.
Well, I really have to pay that to Jay Reagan. I mean, Jay's the one that said, "Hey, you need to be up there," and he made the right arrangements, and then they invited me up there, so it was awesome. That
needed to happen. I mean, it sucks that you wasn't racing, right? I understand. I mean, I was shocked to see you go out as well, but when I heard you up there, I'm like, well, that's pretty freaking cool. You know what I mean? So I thought that was
sponsors need it. Guys are car people, not motorcycle people. So we got to, if somebody don't teach them, what's going on, between all these people that stepped up there. They're like the Pingles and the Vantine Imaging and Jimmy Brantley and Trim Techs, all the people that stepped up to help this deal. Dave Dunnigan, I mean, Jesus, Mr. D has just been as awesome.
He's good for the entire sport. He's amazing.
Talking about one person, I really can't put in words what he really means to me, because he has been so good to me over the years. And good to Top Fuel, not just me. To Top Fuel.
Just the whole sport. He does a lot for XDA. Mr. Dunnigan is an outstanding person, and I feel like that Jason's going to follow his footsteps.
I agree.
You're talking about that a while ago when we was talking about who would get on a Top Fuel bike and all this stuff. And Jason Dunnigan came up to me one day and says, "Man, I don't know if I want to ever ride anything where you got to pray before you get on it."
Well, I think he's riding that right now.
I know a sponsor for the Top Fuel bike if Jason Dunnigan gets on it, and that's Pantene. Pantene Pro V.
Okay.
Shit, I'd be praying before I got on his Pro Street bike. That's for damn sure.
I'd send that thing.
I feel the same exact way. Them things are like crazy. I mean, they're just I don't know how to put it in words. I would not want to ride. I'd rather ride my bike, to be honest.
So something I am curious about, and it might be something we talk about later, is I wonder, I know you guys are quicker and you have big mile an hour as well, but I wonder which one is more radical on the top end, like the last couple 100 feet. I feel like the Pro Street bikes are pretty sketchy. You guys are going fast, but I feel like that's kind of when yours is calming down and you're just saying, please don't blow up. You know what I mean? At that moment. I don't know.
Well, mine pulls so hard in the last 300 or 400 feet. It's unbelievable. But mine, I don't know. I'm sure these guys can, back me up on this. The worst part for us, I think, is stopping.
Yeah.
When you shut
the weight.
Yep, just shutting the throttle off, and then that tire gets to bouncing a little bit. Yeah. I think that's the hardest part. You got to be really careful of that rear brake. I have so many people with big tires. That tire's like a basketball. Yes. You're sitting there running, 7-8 pounds of air in it, and it gets to bouncing, and you have to be real careful with the brakes. And nowadays we have got extremely good brakes.
And parachutes.
Oh, the parachute.
Yeah.
Best thing since crack.
And if they ain't mounted correctly, it's going to pull their ass end off the ground, right? So that's a big thing. You got to be careful with that.
It's got to be mounted properly, and it's got to be the right size parachute. I buoyed a parachute for years and years and years. I used to say, "You guys are crazy. Ain't no way I'll ever put one in them things."
Yeah.
Shit. Now
I can't remember. Years ago, there was a white Top Fuel bike that his legs went in the body.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Jay Upton from Australia.
He had a parachute, didn't he? I think it was one of the first ones.
First one, yeah. He was the first one ever to ever do a parachute. He worked with Sam Jay Upton, He worked.
Yeah, I've been around a minute. I know some old shit.
I saw a VHS tape of them testing the parachute, I think at Tulsa a long time ago. And the first pass, I think they put it on, it was Sam, I'm pretty sure. They put it on him and it like sucked him off the bike. And then the second one, they put it at like the end of the wheelie bars and it lifted the bike up by the end of the wheelie bars. Sandy and Donna Jones, who were sportsman racers, and they raced Pro Star, what was that? Small tire top sportsman class. They have that VHS tape, and I watched it. So
Sam had the like parachute attached to himself?
I'm pretty sure it was him. Yeah. Experimenting.
Well, let me tell you.
Could you imagine that?
Please, somebody find this VHS. Holy shit.
Well, one of the guys that helps me, John Dixon, and I think Mitch and Dave both have met John. He's genius, right? He's just unbelievably smart. Well, he had a rocket bike. He was in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and he wore the parachute on this rocket bike on him.
Holy cow.
And it had a string, attached to the bike. Well, he went down through there, and I can't remember the G-force that he was pulling, but it was crazy. I mean, he run, I don't know, 200 and I think it was 250, 60 miles an hour in the eighth of a mile.
Gosh.
And that thing set him up, and it pulled the parachute and ripped him off the motorcycle. And it set him down kind of easy. He just slid a long way and just.
I mean, in perfect scenario, you just go up, right? I mean, oh God, Lord have mercy.
Wow.
So, talking about G's, what is like what kind of G's does Top Fuel Motorcycles pull? Like I know you got data.
3.5 is what I usually do off the starting line. And then
that's my problem. I'm only pulling 3.
Yeah, but G meters can vary.
Yeah, it's just like a data for you on your combo.
Exactly. Right, exactly. I mean, everything. Flow meters vary. Everything. Because somebody say, "Hey, how much fuel are you putting? What's your when you flow?" Well, I'm showing 13.8 gallons. Well, I'm only showing 10. Well, I mean, there's something different. Okay.
Yeah, it could be anything, but what you average. You know what I mean? So it's just good data.
The numbers you put in on the G meter. I mean, on the flow meter. It could be the numbers that all the raw data that you did. The computer's only as smart as what you install it. It's what you put in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the end result is it don't matter what the number is, as long as you go by that number all the time.
So for me, I've had some piss poor time-based nitrous ramps in my bike before. And like it'll plug second right when it puts all the nitrous in and pull like 3.1. And I'm like, fuck, I about couldn't hold on to that thing. So I couldn't imagine the whole pass being that way. Yeah. And then some. Like I'm just and my G meter could be realistically less than yours. It's like you said, they're different, but I know what I felt. And I was like, whoo, that was spicy. You know what I mean?
Just watching y'all go, to me, like I don't even know. I think it's probably around like that 3:30 to 8th mile when I watched Dave's pass in the final just earlier today, and like the bikes moving side to side and Dave's. I'm like, it looks. I mean, I know you're hanging on, but it almost looks like you're getting ragdoll. And I'm like, oh, I lifted 3 seconds ago. Like I was already out of it, and y'all are just like in there hanging on. And I mean, I've seen Larry do that.
There's a point where they're like not on the bars good, and at that point is when they usually do that like wobble sachet. Larry's does it a whole lot. I've seen his handlebars go up and down. And
I'm holding my breath when I see that, whether it's on a video or in it's.
Well, Larry's holding his too, I'm sure.
I'm wearing ends these days.
What's that? Oh gosh,
a little dribble, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Wait, we did get some comments in here.
That's called greedy. When they start wobbling like that. That's when usually you're going into, I assume you're going into high gear before you should. Or you should have gone into high gear and you're still in first.
Oh, okay.
Last I knew, according to Larry, your shift points are wrong. And that's when, you start weeveling and wobbling because everybody wants to get it in there soon. the sooner the better if the tire will take it, depending on conditions. And, you can, believe it or not, you can overcome those chassis. I want to go back to Pro Street just for a second. Sure. On top end, I would say that I'm with Mitch that at the top end, yes, we go quicker, we all go 250, or better. But I think our chassis are more robust than a Pro Street chassis.
Yeah, the chassis is absorbing.
I think those guys at the top end, when those things really start singing with a lesser chassis, like Larry said, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I absolutely would not do. I would not go that fast on that chassis. And people can look at Mitch and Larry and me and whatever and say, you're nuts. But those chassis are kind of built to go that fast. Or I'm not so sure about those Pro Street chassis.
They stock.
One swing arm on them, and and they're making 700-800 horsepower. I personally think, with no wheelie bar, I personally think those things are spooky.
All right.
I'm a big fan of Pro Street. I love Pro Street. I'm going to tell you that. I love the 460 class. I'm just a drag racer, period.
I know it. We all are, right? Like, I think everybody that drag races loves all drag racing. You know what I mean?
I can tell you right now, Dustin, and this has happened on more than one occasion, especially at Maryland when we was doing the shows for Maryland. When it would come up and they would holler your name out there running, we would all run to the fence, my crew, so we could see if you won, right?
I hope I did.
You did a lot.
Probably did.
A lot. And,
try, man.
of course, then you started helping my buddy a little bit, Willie, right? You got to you got to love Willie, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One time Willie he saved my butt. One time I had burnt some exhaust valves, spraying nitrous, and Willie said
top fuel training.
Yeah. He said, Do you want to ride my bike?
Mitch, I think he would.
And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, sure. And I jumped on Willie's bike and put it into the finals. And I'd never rode it before. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Dave, I think Tom McCarthy's got a question for you.
Yeah, I was going to say we got Tom McCarthy on here. Of course, such an asset, I think, personally, with chronicling the sport and working on his book and all. But yeah, Dave, he said, you entered Top Fuel Motorcycle in 2013. He asked, how many times have you held the number 2 plate? And he wants to know if this is the year for number 1. You're off to a good start.
He's number 1 right now.
I mean, the Pingle Series, is a 4-race thing. So I'm going to go with 25%.
Fair enough.
So if I'm fortunate enough to go one more time, I think that's 50%. So maybe, I think I run 22, as everybody knows, and that's my permanent number. And the only other, I'll be 22. I don't care if it's 3rd, 4th, 2nd. It's 22 unless it's 1. And, and if it's 1, I'll put it on there. Other than that, I don't care what it is. It's 22. So you know what? I honestly don't know how many times it's been 2 because it's always been 22.
That's right.
And if it's 1, then, it's a short season, so maybe I have a shot. I'm sure Mr. McBride and I'm sure Mitch and they all have something to say about that. But it is off to a good start. I don't know if we can repeat because, I have a new bike. My goal is to ride it. The last 2 races I've run Virginia Monday and Tuesday to spend on the new bike only. And, assuming that goes well, we'll retire, quote, the yellow bike, even though the new one's yellow.
I have to say, it sound like it just be another
and you know, Larry built it, and you know, so God knows what could happen in the last 2 races. I mean, you know, if I can't find my butt with both hands, you know, I may, I mean, I know I'm going to race the current bike in Richmond, spend 2 days on the new bike, Monday and Tuesday, hopefully in Brainerd and Charlotte, run the new bike, but who knows? And that could be a game changer. I mean, I could, last time I rode the thing and Jason Miller was nice enough to let us test and Larry was there. I didn't go 10 feet without blazing the tire. The thing didn't go anywhere.
Isn't there some more bikes going to be entering? Like, isn't there some that couldn't make the first race?
I got, I'll just for a second. I mean, I know Larry knows more about Jimmy Brantley than I do. I have no idea. I did get a text from Chris Hand the day before saying, I'm working on getting, relicensed again, whatever that, I'm assuming that means, he'll be out. Jimmy, certainly has, because, Larry, he's got the best of everything. If he's got time or desire, I don't know. Larry would know better than I. And I don't know who else is out there. I mean, there's, what's his real name? Perry. We call him Big Money. Another concrete guy from Florida. I mean, there's a few bikes laying around that people, sort of threaten, to bring back out or get freshened up, and have the latest, greatest stuff added to their bikes. Like I said earlier, I hope that NHRA is a catalyst that, finally people are like, you know what, now's the time, to dust this thing off, get it upgraded and go. I can think of at least, and Larry and Mitch probably know better than I, but I can think of at least 2 to 3 bikes that, with some upgrading would be very competitive.
It's time. Right now, I feel like is the only time for that to happen. Like it's
well, now. In my opinion, if it doesn't happen now, then when?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel if NHRA doesn't do it for you,
nothing will. Right. Exactly.
What's the current setup, guys? I mean, how many bikes can go and try and qualify, and is it open? I mean, if they get 8,
Mitch alluded to Ned Wallister, however you pronounce his name properly. I think it's whatever, Ned. And I know he is. I believe he would like to see 8 bikes qualify.
I would like to see 8 bikes.
Which is a pretty tall order for top fuel bikes in this country. Jaska came over back in the day. Ian King came over. There's I've got a poster. Larry's probably got a poster. Mitch has probably got a poster. I think it was 2 or 3 Valdosas ago was like the most top fuel bikes in one crowd. I believe there's only how many, Mitch? How many? I mean, there might have been, and that included some fuel Harleys, top fuel twins. I think there was maybe 12, but that included
the overseas guys.
Overseas.
Yeah, that's
guys,
the big thing. Is there's
guys.
Some heavy hitters overseas. That I mean, I feel like Ian's no slouch. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he would be competitive.
He's so old.
I think
he probably
Larry
he wouldn't be competitive in the wheelchair race.
I believe that.
I like you, Mitch. You talk the shit.
I believe that bike is no longer.
Oh, okay.
We're rebuilding it. They are rebuilding it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I sent them a new front wheel for it, so they are definitely rebuilding it. But there is talk of a container coming over here with some bikes in it. So I think, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think we could build a class.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So have they told, like, What is it though? If you guys have 8 bikes qualify, are you going to run 8 bikes? What's the setup? Okay, all right. So that's already agreed upon.
If we have 5 bikes, we're going to run an 8-bike ladder. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's just the way it's going to work. It's the only way it can work with points.
What would they do if 12 showed up? All 12 qualify?
Nope. They run 8 bikes.
So 8's the limit right now.
8.
Okay.
Ned said, if we got 6, we're going to run 6. We got 7, we're going to run 7. He goes, if we got 9 bikes, I want to run 9 bikes, but we're only going to be able to run 8. And man, if we get 8 bikes, let's just be thankful that we got.
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking like, what if we did? Maybe next year it could, if they see the potential to move it up. You know what I mean? So I was just like,
everybody that's even interested in Top Fuel, just because you didn't qualify, and let's say we had 12 bikes. So we've got 4 bikes that don't qualify. Them 4 bikes get paid, period.
That's awesome.
End of story. Okay. Yeah. And that goes to thanks to Mr. Dunnigan. Okay.
He's in here.
I
seen him comment earlier.
Yeah. Okay. He's okay. Well, that all comes to him. If it wasn't for him, we couldn't offer this. So, the people that are thinking, no, it's not a ton of money, but it's enough money to help you on your fuel.
It helps. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Dunnigan.
Absolutely. Because if it wasn't for what Mr. D does, I think in all drag racing, what he does in,
he would suffer for sure.
It ain't just Top Fuel he helps out. I know.
No, sir.
Racers, I can name all kind of people that Mr. D. And the thing about it is I probably with him, I shouldn't even be saying anything about him because he's that kind of person that just don't really want that knowledge
you're
out.
Right.
But at the same time, he's done so much from our class, and he has for years, and nobody knew about it. And and what he done for us this year to step up and say, you get this many bikes, I'll pay this many bikes. He is about the sport and he loves Top Fuel. He loves motorcycle. He loves racing. And if you ever talk to him, he's been in about every kind of racing you could ever do.
He has, from the snow to everything.
He was racing cars. I mean, he raced everything. And look what he does right now in the racing. I mean,
and we all love him, not just because he does a lot, just because he's a great person.
But,
I mean, I like just going by and seeing him and shaking his hand. You know what I mean?
Every race I see him.
Sit down and talk to him, and and the guy gets out there and still drives his bulldozer and everything. I mean, come on, man.
Mr. Dunnigan's that guy that if I'm on my scooter blasting through the pits and I see him and I'm in a hurry, I'll stop and say, hey, shake his hand. No matter what.
He came to Chicago just to see us and be there with us at the first race. And it was
awesome. Yeah, that's cool. That's good stuff,
great.
Man.
I mean, he came in on Friday, and he hung out all day on Friday. And of course, he had to, he had to get back home. But at least he came in and said hello and hung out with us. So it was, it's just a good. And the good part about, and y'all see this in all motorcycle drag racing, we are a family, and we are a very small family.
Yeah,
that's why we take offense when people talk about another part of the family. Okay?
You dang right. Yeah.
And, I think we should have had Eddie and Andrew on here with us, right? Because
they are part of the family.
And I'm a big fan of pro stock motorcycles. And, I've been with Vance and Hines since 1985. So, I mean, I go all the way back with Terry and Byron and, here comes this young kid and, buying this motorcycle from Terry. And then all of a sudden, and I know they were saying Byron's going, he'll never make it. He'll never make it. I'd already been racing, way prior to that, but now I'm on my own, 100% on my own.
And you like me now, huh?
Great. It's been a great deal.
So I was reading one of the comments and we were talking about limited bikes and really all it needs riders. Old Blue and then Dave's other bike when he gets on the new one, if he likes his new one enough to stay on it, there's another bike sitting there without a rider. So, I mean, we just need crazy people. That's all we need to fill the class up.
Sounds easy to me.
There's plenty of us.
Well, for what it's worth, Jeff Pollard, who, is the prior rider of the yellow bike, I purchased it, from the Pollards.
Yeah.
Greg came with it, which is the only reason I'm frankly, riding Top Fuel. All right, no disrespect, Larry. I'd still be working for Larry. So I thought, well, geez, to add another bike to the class, if, I get the new bike sorted out, who better to ride the bike than the guy that used to ride the bike?
Hell yeah.
It seemed to make sense to me. Sure. And he's part of, I'm sure Mitch has got it. He's one of the top, first in the 5, 8 bikes. So the boy can ride a motorcycle. He's rusty. He needs some practice, but he's been 5 seconds. And that's his old bike. So
a reunion.
That's our schedule. Once I move, and I'm confident in the new bike. Jeff can move foot pegs and handlebars and stuff around. To back to where I moved it, when I got it. And so that bike will be out there. That'll be a bike, and that was the whole thinking is, to add, Larry will tell you, at least I'll tell you, my biggest fear is, we worked our butt off. The 3 of us have worked our butts off to be, good competitors. And, the last thing we need is, NHRA to go, somebody messed it up. So I couldn't put just anybody on that bike, because I want someone who, is, or used to be a quality rider, and, I'm sure will be again. So that, we don't want to sink our ship after all the work.
All it takes is one unexperienced person to ruin it for all of you. Like, you got to be careful.
It could happen.
Yeah.
And, so part of my decision, for whatever it's worth, was, adding a quality bike with a quality person sitting on it. So, NHRA doesn't think that we've lost our mind.
Yeah.
I hope.
But if we get the ones that's out there and then maybe fill some saddles, I think that it can be a full deal, like a full field. I know it's going to take them people to have some coin, to be there and show up and have the money to spend on nitro and all that good stuff. But I'm just here for the show.
We're hoping for that 12 bike field, to qualify 8. I mean, who wouldn't want, in my opinion, I know it's a sidebar, but I think, that was the downfall of Funny Bike.
Yeah.
Because I was I come from Pro Mod. The trouble with Funny Bike was, they didn't get bumped.
Yeah.
They showed up and they knew they were going to qualify. In Pro Mod, there's so many Pro Mod bikes. I mean, I can remember there was almost 50.
I remember that back when I was younger, going to
Pro Mod bikes, and there was an A and a B class even.
Yep.
Like, if you didn't make the first 16, you could make the second. There's 32, and there's people that didn't make either one of them.
I remember when bracket racers didn't make the show.
You had to keep trying. You had to, you were like, well, and Funny Bikes, unfortunately, if they showed up, they qualified. It's not like, because I remember driving to Gainesville, Florida back in the day and not qualifying, and being from upstate New York. That's a long ride home.
That's a hell of a drive for sure.
And it's like, how'd it go? Didn't make it.
Man.
You drive all the way home and you're like, I'm going to, this thing is going to be faster the next time out. And I don't think that Funny Bike had that drive. So it's not a bad thing if we find, 11, 10, 12, fuelers and somebody goes home because, it stings. Yeah. It stings a lot. And
but it's motivation,
right? It'll be better the next race.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. I think that the disappointment of a loss or not making the field, most people that's competitive is just going to use that as fuel.
It drives you. Yeah, it drives you more than a win. You win and you're like, oh, my shit's good. I was good. You don't do as much, but when you get your butt kicked, you're
in the shop.
You're in the shop.
Except for Larry and Steve, they win and set all the world records and still work 7 days a week, 14 hours a day.
Yeah. They broke.
He's got personal records. He's trying to probably reach or something,
Hey, well, look, the hype is the hype is coming back, and Dustin and I have been following the pro stock motorcycle pretty hard the last 2 years, and honestly, it's because we've seen a lot of people we got to race with. We love all the legends and icons in that class as well, but getting that new blood in there really does something, and like we've seen it, online and just in person at the track, and we're gonna get this hype going, and it's here. I mean, I'm excited to see y'all race and play this out, and it's just so awesome. I mean, it really is. It's so everybody that you all have mentioned that put in the time, effort, and the money. It's so great. It's so great.
There's a lot of other people out there that we haven't mentioned, and we just lost one of the greatest that's been behind Top Fuel for a zillion years. Matter of fact, was my very first sponsor ever was Jay at APE. That was a great loss for the sport. Okay,
absolutely, it was.
So we're going to he's definitely going to be missed in the deal. I think Ben's going to carry on. But to be able to lose icons like that in the industry, it's crazy how close I go back to them guys. And Diane, his wife, one time came down to Newport News when was down here visiting somebody, and they all came by my shop when I first opened up back in, I don't know, it was probably somewhere around 81, 82.
I wasn't even alive yet, Larry.
I was 7.
Yeah, it was crazy, and actually bought me a pair of leathers. That was just incredible, right?
Wow!
And that was back in the day when, I don't know if anybody remembers it, but Lou's Leathers back in the day.
Lou's Leathers.
Yeah. LL.
Elmer used to always wear those things.
Yes.
Yep.
And every time I looked at those, like they were like velvet, and I'm like, man, those things are gonna like stick.
So funny. Elmer used to get, every time he'd get a brand new pair of leathers, and especially when he got them purple ones, right?
Yeah.
Very first pass, they were dripping oil from them.
Tear something up.
So, I wouldn't take anything of the memories and the friends and all that I've met in drag racing over the years. And I tell you, I absolutely love it. A lot of people like going skiing and fishing, and I like going to the drag strip. Okay.
I mean, I like fishing, but the racetrack's my home. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. And when you mentioned Jay and Diane and the business, Ben's going to keep it going. The thing is Jay and Diane are so unique, and Jay, neither one of them act their age, right? Like they're just outstanding people. Like when I got on the phone with Jay, it was like me talking to Ben. You'd be on there for 30, 45 minutes, just like when I call you, Larry, or we're on the phone. We talk about everything, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And he was so, Jay was so intelligent, and he's probably forgot more than I'll ever know, and it's just like when we lost him, like when I got the message about that, it bothered me. I was messed up for that whole night racing, and just couldn't get it off my mind. And we definitely lost someone that would. I mean, he's watching this, probably got a better seat than we do.
I was going to say that he does have the best view now, though.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to see a Facebook post of him talking about it. What I mean?
One of the worst things about losing somebody like Jay is the history. He was an encyclopedia of motorcycle drag racing.
Yeah,
we're going to lose some of that stuff that he was the only guy that remembered.
The legacy. You know what I mean? Like there's a legacy there, and I'm very thankful that Ben is going to continue APE's position, because without it we would be in trouble. But
the honors of my career was having a helmet in Jay's office next to Elmer. I mean, that was
just to have it beside Elmer's is cool.
Just to be in there, that he thought well enough of me to be there. And Elmer's the one that introduced me to Jay, and everything. So it's just it was just a great icon of the sport to go away. And I think Jay was almost 80 years old, but he didn't act like it. And I had just talked to him on Wednesday before he passed away on Friday. So I was so blown away, but I'm comfortable because he was such a Christian person.
Oh yeah. So
I'm comfortable that he's in the right place. I'm a little worried about Miss Diane.
She's having a hard time, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but she'll be okay. She's on the right side, so she'll be fine. And everybody out there in the motorcycle industry, just pray for her to have a strong heart and keep going.
They high school sweethearts, guys. Like, yes, that's a long time to be together with someone and do everything with.
Everything together. They went. It was very seldom that you would see him without her, or her without him. But everybody out there. I mean, like I say, we look at our sport, and when you're on the outside looking in, you're going, "Wow, this place, this is a big sport." Because you're talking about literally all over the U.S. and all over the Europe.
Yeah,
and Australia.
It's so small. I mean, Mitch is fine. I mean, look at look at all the people Mitch knows and all the people. I mean, that he sells parts to. I mean, it's a really small industry. Once you
go worldwide, you're doing something.
Oh my God!
And for what we're doing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I tell my friends it's like being in the model airplane club, right? Like we're not a huge sport, but on all the continents, all the drag bike racers kind of feel like we're friends. You know, it's this really small, tight group all over the place.
And usually you could take 99% of us and throw us together, and there's going to be something set afire and a lot of laughing going on, most likely. It could be golf cart wheelies at XDA, or it could be a porta-john on the stage at Maryland. Who knows? But something's going to happen.
Seen it all, haven't we?
Man, haven't we? Like, I mean, being one race, something I'll never forget. He pulled a damn chocolate donut out of his pocket. We had too many adult sodas, and I eat the fucking donut.
Man, when I'm traveling around past racing, when I'm done racing, I'm traveling. You got to watch out when I show up. It's wild.
But Larry sit and eat Boo Brown's mom's deviled eggs at Maryland. It was probably freaking 2 a.m. We're just sitting by.
It was at least 2 o'clock in the morning. We're sitting there eating deviled eggs. I think I ended up eating cake after that.
Oh yeah,
we did. Cake. Like we were 100%. Just chilling and just BSing.
I want to go back to sportsman racing. If you can run around with donuts in your pocket in case you get hungry at the finish line. Or something.
I mean, I ain't 275 for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to tell you I remember this, but as I was told, I showed up in a pair of jeans, which was like the
blue jeans.
Like blue jeans, Wranglers. And had like a regular sized donut, and just pulled it out of my pocket, and it was fully intact. And I had
he was eating it. Apparently. He goes, "Oh, you want one?" And he reached in his pocket and grabs another one. I'm like.
Still defies my knowledge. I don't know. Larry, Tom McCarthy, and I know he knows, but he had a good question for everybody, and this is going to age you a little bit. He said, when and where did you win your first NHRA Wally?
1983.
Oh, Dustin wasn't born yet either.
1983, Atlanta, Georgia. Southern Nationals. I do have a Wally.
Man, that was you know what's cool about that is like back in the day, the names of the races was cool. Southern Nationals. That just sounds cool. Wow, we don't have them like that no more. You know what I mean?
The trophy girl was Linda Vaughn.
Oh wow!
Okay. Wow.
The Hershey. Yep. Oh yeah, she gave me a big old kiss and everything.
Woo! All right.
And it was I still got pictures in my picture album. Because back then it was had a lot of them. Kodak, them instant cameras, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Right, but yeah, that was awesome, man. And 1983, and then of course, like Roland Stewart, one of my crew guys, he won a Wally at the Indy. He won the U.S. Nationals. I can't remember.
Wow.
And I'm wanting to say that was 82 or 81.
I wasn't alive.
I've been doing this a day or two now.
Yeah. A few days.
You guys know the last time before Chicago a couple weeks ago, the Top Fuel motorcycle was contested at NHRA was the 1984 season, 40 years ago, and Sam Wills won the U.S. Nationals 40 years ago, and he just stepped off a Top Fuel bike last season. That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, like that long. I mean,
Larry and Chris and Sam all raced at the U.S. Nationals in what, Larry, 79 or 78?
19. Well, yeah, I was there.
What was your first year?
78, but I runnered up to Bo O'Brocta in the U.S. Nationals in 1980.
Yeah.
And 1982 is when Roland won the U.S. Nationals, my crew guy, right? That's been with me. I mean, I raced against him forever. But yeah, 1980. Now, you got to hear this story. I get a phone call from Danny Johnson. This is 2 weeks prior to the U.S. Nationals. They were in Fremont, California. He crashed. Well, he called me and wanted to know if I would ride that same bike at the U.S. Nationals. And my guy that I had been racing for, he was quitting racing, right? So I didn't have no bike to ride. I said, hell yeah. So I'd never ridden a blown Jap bike ever. We got there, and I said, I'm this big tall guy. These bikes are a little short. I'm like, geez, this thing is short, right? I got on it. Said, yep, I'm good to go. I qualified fourth. I think Sam Wills qualified fifth. I mean, it was crazy. And it was the first ever 7-second Top Fuel motorcycle field was 1980. And I went all the way to the finals, and we run on Tuesday. We got rained down on Monday, which was the holiday.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that you can remember this.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock in the morning. At 9 o'clock in the morning, we made our first. That was when me and Bo run it. 9 o'clock in the morning, he won.
Holy cow!
Yeah, talking about.
Remember what I did last week, so it's just impressive that you're going back and remembering the times and
talking about your crew.
It's probably the same race, but Sam told me the first time he remembers Larry coming to the track. And he said Larry was the new kid. He was 19. And Sam was the old guy. He was 21.
Yep.
Wow.
It's a little different than that now, but it's half of them guys are the same guys that just dedicated their life to it and did it every day of their life for 40 years.
Well, Sam could tell you this. I used to set me and his wife was yes, we was like unbelievably good friends, and just hit it off. And I'd be sitting out there. We'd be in Indy. We'd be sitting in the grass. I'd be smoking 2 cigarettes, and set one down to pull grass. Yeah. I mean, that was just crazy how you can go back and remember all that. And that's
what I'm starting to think is if you ever make a pass on a Top Fuel motorcycle, you'll never get off the damn thing.
Exactly. It's a fix, man.
It's a different feeling. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. These old guys has felt the hair on of motorcycle track race.
Yeah. That was a cool thing about Byron Hines. He used to come up and he'd look at you and he'd go, it'd be getting that fix.
Yeah. I mean, like I've been doing the same thing myself for a long time, so it's kind of boring. But maybe I need to change the scenery. It ain't going to be Top Fuel motorcycle. Hell no. I'm
just saying, like, and this isn't a knock on you either, Dave, but I mean, Dave's not the tallest guy. I'm just saying.
No, I'm a towering 5'5", by the way.
Oh, hell, we're the same height. I mean,
I'm just saying, Dustin. It's not far-fetched. Hey, talking about crew guys, Larry, Chuck said that his only highlight from the weekend was that the motor lived at 11.5 for a minute.
When it blew the tire away, probably.
Well, yeah, the rider kind of held it on a little bit long. It might have been a little ill because it smoked the tire and carried it on a little too far. And then I think that 2015 at Atco came back to me and said, you better shut this thing off.
That's the first thing I thought of, Larry. When it was smoking the tire and I heard you still in it, I was like, oh Lord, don't catch fire. Don't blow up. That was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
And then another shout out to crew guy Dave. I gotta thank Joe, of course, because I love Joe to death. He's always been good to me, a friend of me. And I texted him. I said, Joe, give me Dave's number. I know that's a big ask. I don't want to bother anybody. I said, but I want to get him on the show with us. So shout out to Joe. I know he does a lot with y'all.
No, thank you. Yeah, he was. Well, we have a pretty good size, parking lot. Our building is 30,000 square feet, surrounded by blacktop, and he and his daughter were out tooling around because we had to put it in for fire lane. We had to pave the other side of the building. Can't have people going out in a snowbank during a fire, so right. had to make it plowable in upstate New York. So you could go all the way around the building now. It's blacktop, and yeah, Joe was just here. Just and his 9-year-old daughter kicked his butt. When they were racing around the building, he was on. They were both on mountain bikes, so to speak. And Joe stopped into the shop. I go, well, how'd it go? And he's got his hands on his knees. He's like, she whipped my ass. I'm like,
she's got a weight advantage.
I go, how old is she? And I'm talking to her, and she goes, well, I'm almost 10.
Yeah. Go, well, that's how old my daughter is, and I know they got the energy. But when you said blacktop around the building, I just instantly thought we did go-karts. Is what I thought of. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we've got golf carts and side by sides, and
yeah. Put some in them, baby. Let's go.
I want to give a shout out to Joe too. I think you said something about Dave when we raced at Chicago about. I don't know. I think you said you got lucky. You didn't get lucky. You ran over me, but I was ahead of you by about 3 thousandths at the tree. And when you came past me, there was flames coming out of your valve stems. That thing was tuned up so high.
Yeah, it didn't live.
Oh, I can.
Yeah, I know.
We we don't take Mitch or Larry, lightly. And that motor went in.
You didn't have to tune it up that high.
Well, that was a one and done. Yeah. So we put the motor in, made that pass, and took the motor out.
Right decision. You got to the Wally.
Yeah. No, we got a little greedy in the timing department, so that one didn't make it. We got back and
a little greedy or a lot greedy.
So, I don't know. You got the motor. You tell me.
It was real greedy.
Oh, you take it apart?
Hell yeah.
I think they put the Larry tune-up in it, not the Mitch tune-up.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Well, hey,
that one didn't make it. But,
we've been talking a long time here. There's a couple of people that we need to mention
That's what I was going to say. Let's Dustin, I really appreciate.
I think we lost Ben partially there.
Yeah.
Break up a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But we need to go in. Bobby Malloy that left Harley came over. Riding a bike that Sam Wills built. Bobby's an unbelievable. That's a guy you got to look out for too. He is one hell of a rider. And
his name made me think of the old Honda. Like when I was recording the lives for everybody to watch, I was like, and he used to race the fastest Honda in the world. Like.
Absolutely. He rode Elmer's titanium top fuel bike and beat Elmer with it. Okay.
Wow.
Aren't you and Bobby the only ones that have ever ridden an Elmer bike besides Elmer?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I think Steve, Steve used to work for him. I can't think of his last name right now, but
Churchman.
No, not Churchman. No, this is another boy that worked for him up in Ohio. I think Steve rode one of his doubles after Elmer quit riding. Okay. But anyway, I tell you, somebody else that's up and coming is doing a hell of a job, and that's Micah Fenwick.
Yes, he is doing a great job. His whole team's doing a great job.
Yes, and we can't forget. I tell you, we can't forget about Jay Turner. Jay's building a bike to run with us. I mean, he's building a new V-twin Harley. It's unbelievable, man. It's crazy. This thing.
Yeah, Tom mentioned that the few names on there that if Pollard gets back on Yellow and then Vantine on the new bike and Bob Malloy and then Sam and Todd.
The rumor now, and I think Mitch probably knows this rumor, and Dave might even know it. But Tonglet came up to me at the racetrack. Guess who is talking about wanting to ride a Top Fuel motorcycle? And guess who they're talking about motorcycle they're talking about riding? Can y'all?
I know.
I do too.
I'm out of the loop, I guess.
Well, it's an ex-pro stock bike rider, GT Tonglet.
No kidding.
He'd be a perfect guy.
If that can happen, I'm praying to God. I mean, there's no secret because, Gary, he had talked to me about it, and, that would be a great deal for Chris Hand.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely unbelievable for Chris.
We need, Dave was talking about, we need those new step-in, younger, crazy riders. We need those, right? So, because, look, I'm not saying y'all are old, but y'all are old. And you can't do this forever.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see McKinney. I would like to see Jason Dunnigan. There's guys out there.
Great guys.
Matt McAdams. There's people I believe that are very capable of riding these things. What's his name?
Spencer.
Mr. Paint.
Spencer would ride one.
Spencer was born for Top Fuel. That guy rebuilds more engines than me and Larry put together.
And look, he loves it. Like, he thinks that's like a great weekend of thrashing on a motor. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to even look at. I don't even take my pop off, let alone take the motor off.
You got Chuck. There's a layer of quality guys there. I feel that certainly Chuck. I think McAdams as the fire and probably the money. McKinney and Dunnigan's, of course, have, I think, the talent and the money. And, we have to sort of, pass that baton.
You're going to become mentors, right? I mean, that's what
you said it best. I mean, we're not old, but we're old.
I mean,
nobody likes to admit that.
No disrespect.
Mitch was the funniest guy going. I don't know, what was it? We were in Oklahoma at the Midwestern, drag racing series, and we're all in the starting line giving, our ages. And what did you say, Mitch? 19 or something like that. And of course, everybody chuckled, because, Sam's like, I'm 71, and Chris is like, and Mitch is like, well, I'm 19. And of course, 10,000 people laughed.
I'm a funny guy.
It's like that, it's like that where, I can only speak for myself, but I don't think any of us consider ourselves old till we, probably look in the mirror.
Hey, I'm going to
well, none of you in Zach old, so I'll say that.
I just scrolled down. I was just looking at all these names that Tom McCarthy had put down here.
Yes. Yeah.
A bike that was probably one of the baddest ass motorcycles that I've ever seen run down the track is Jason Pridemore. Have y'all ever seen that bike?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a work of art. That bike is he is one hell of a machinist. Not only is he a hell of a machinist, the bike hauls ass, man. I mean, I've always told him that if you ever want to, I would love to ride it because I'd love to be the first guy in the fives on a Harley. That's how badass this thing is. It'll go in the five.
I agree.
Well, that's just something else about y'all's motorcycles. The only damn thing you can just buy and stick on is the tires. Like, everything else has got to be made. There's nothing that you can.
You ever heard of Hard Time Parts? He sends me my stuff.
Yeah. If you called me wanting a Top Fuel part, I'd be like, let me call Larry. I don't know what now, I did sell a set of one of the Top Fuel guys, Alwines, that they wanted a Cormoto front wheel. And at the time, they wouldn't sell just the front. So I bought a set and I sent him the front and I just hung on to the rear until I could buy a front to go with it. So I guess you could say, Old Hard Times has sold some Top Fuel motorcycle stuff, but it was a a damn Busa front wheel, with ABS. So
I think we jumped up and hard time sell some really nice degree wheels for Busas.
We do, made by the legend himself, and I have them, and I think I have one in stock right now as we're talking about it. And everyone that has bought that, and that was Willie Nichols. Willie said, Larry's got this thing, he adapts it. And I'm like, what? Then I called you. I'm like, look, man, me and Spencer need one of these. And you made it. And then I'm like, damn, I want to sell these. And then here we are. I've been selling them for a few years now. And
I'm going to make some more of them just so you'll know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like those. I've not had anybody that complained about it. There's actually people that wants them for different stuff, like Gixxer Thousands. I'm like, look, man, Larry busy top fueling right now. You got to give him a break. We can't overwhelm him with this stuff. He's got bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean?
Hey, Justin, I want to say a couple things about Top Fuel that Dave was alluding to and Larry. First of all is, yes, you can't go to Walmart and buy a Top Fuel bike. So if we're going to get these guys into this sport, it's going to take some time. So yeah, I'm going to say, and I would be surprised if they wouldn't say the same thing. If you're serious about it, come hang out with us at the racetrack and learn. That's the best way to do it, Yes. But I'll also say, because I'm a sportsman racer, I already said it, I'm just a guy here that's living my dream with my heroes. But, for the last 8 years I've been doing this, I talked to Sam Wills and Larry McBride at least once a week and sometimes 5 times a week. And I probably talk to Sam almost every day. I mean, they have taught me so much. Like, I'm not very good at this, but I am getting better and I am learning, but I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. I mean, I'm just learning from my heroes and I'm just here to have a good time. Sometimes, I get kicked around on the internet a little bit about, I'll never beat Larry. I don't expect to beat Larry. I'm just here because me and my team love it, and we're having the time of our life, and we're learning, and we're getting better. And I would encourage anybody else to do that.
That's something. That's just haters, and you can tell them to kiss your ass.
Well, look, me and Ben, we've lost Ben for a second. He must have connection problems, but our number one thing we preach about when you go to the racetrack is make sure you have fun. If you're not having fun, don't go, because there's no reason. We don't need your negative attitude around our fun, first of all. So when you go racing, make sure you have fun. Don't expect to win, because if you do that, then most likely there's high chances that you're not going to have fun if you expect to win, because everybody loses except one person, in my opinion. So
we all want to win.
And you all think you can, because you wouldn't go if you didn't think you could, right? But racing, Larry is a testimonial to that. The last race, anything can happen in racing. Like, you don't know, you put a tune up, it's an educated guess, right? You're like the weatherman at that moment. Like, it's 50% going to rain today. Well, it was 50% it might hook, and it didn't. You know what? Larry ain't going to quit and, throw his toolbox because he may have thrown his toolbox.
He's going to quit. He told me he's done. He's going to quit.
Well, let me tell you, you show me a happy loser, and I'll show you a guy who knows races.
That's right. So I will say this. So my personal thing is, I tell myself, is you got to learn to lose before you can win.
Absolutely.
Because when you lose, you need to learn from it. And if you learn from those losses, you'll continue on to improve,
I'd rather be mad at the other end time I get back to the pits. I try to get over. Just give me 15 minutes and I'll be fine.
I've usually let out all my anger before I turn off the track most of the time. Like, I usually cuss myself out and then I'm good. Like, I've called myself every name in the book and called everything I've done wrong to myself during that pass. All right, you're a dumbass, and then move on. You know what I mean? So, because I'm not going to go up there and the guy that just now beat me is probably happy, and I'm not going to rain on his parade. Like, bro, congratulations, so, but everybody needs to do this, not just this what I do, but everybody should take notes from that, because we don't need no sour apples in our good bunch. We need everybody to be happy and have fun. And if you're not having fun, then what are we here for? Well, I look at
it. Before we jump off, go ahead, Dave.
Well, when I took off a couple years when I worked for Larry, and I got back into it, and people said, well, what do you miss the most? And I said, well, to me, it was 50-50. It really was. I said, I miss the people, and I missed the racing about the same amount.
Yeah.
Along those lines, is that, I really did. When I wasn't racing, I missed the community.
Yes.
As much as I missed the racing, because, when, back in the Pro Star days or whatever, I mean, it was like a mobile neighborhood.
Yeah.
You would be like, where's so-and-so? I'm like, well, they're usually 2 rows over and about 6 down.
Yeah.
It's like everybody had their street address and they all park the same. It's like, oh, they're over on Irving Street, about 4 down on the left, probably.
Some of my best stories at the racetrack is after the hours.
I miss that, that the mobile community is, maybe I'm crazy, but I was a 50-50. I missed racing, but I missed the community about the same.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on anybody.
You're talking about a community. Guess who's watching, Mitch?
Who?
Maddie.
Oh yeah, Maddie's
watching.
Maddie is the most Top Fuel person that I know in my life. She lives Top Fuel motorcycle every minute of her life.
Absolutely. I tell you, she's one of our biggest fans. I tell you, one day, Dustin, you're going to get to meet her and you will love her to death. She is just an unbelievable person.
I already love her to death just from the videos I've seen. So
yeah, I mean, she's smart as a whip, man. She knows everything that everybody's doing. She's been, she grew up in Jay Turner's pit. She knows more about Top Fuel Harleys than I know.
Well, her daddy used to race, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've known him forever. I mean, I go back with a long time. It's just so awesome to see people like Maddie that she is so smart on Top Fuel and knows all the racers and the
car racers.
Oh, yeah, and the car. Yeah. I love Maddie, so I wanted to make sure I give a shout out to Maddie.
Yeah, we need to do that.
I mean,
on our YouTube channel or something, right?
yeah, probably. Yeah, it's that. That's why I mentioned earlier about when Ben was talking about how you guys thought about everything was, in my opinion, especially for you, Larry, this is kind of like a relief that you're finally back at, NHRA racing. You're getting to do it in front of the crowd, because sometimes at Man Cup in the fall, we would have a good crowd, but it still ain't the same as the NHRA crowd. Right. So,
but I'm a motorcycle guy too. I mean, I love my motorcycle races, but to be able to come back to the NHRA, I'm extremely happy, but I miss you guys. I miss,
hell yeah.
I missed at 2:00 in the morning eating eggs and
hell yeah. I mean, I was saying that when Dave was talking, like some of my best memories at the racetrack is not part of the racing. It's after the racing's done and you're just hanging out on Saturday night before Sunday, and probably staying up later than you should. Not really being being back. Yep. Not being the smartest adult, but we're having, we're just some of the best memories that I have are just hanging out with my friends. Me and Ben's got so many stories of just after hours to track. Me and Spencer, one time we rode to hang out with Demi and them. We were on my scooter, and of course we were both riding my scooter back. And I'll never forget it. He had a few beverages, and he was going, "Oh God, oh God," and he was leaning. I'm like, "Bro, we're going to crash the scooter." He was falling off the scooter, and I was trying to drive it into his fall so he wouldn't fall off. And just some of the best times of my life was with my friends at the racetrack and I like some of these racetrack family more than I do my real family. So it's, we have so much in common,
I ran the PMRA for 17 years, and that was one of the most rewarding things that I ever did, was watching those guys fight it out in each class to win a championship, grown men. And then we always did our award ceremony right after the last race. I'd be up in the tower tallying the points, and to see those grown men, get up there and start tearing up because they won this little PMRA Super Comp championship or something was just awesome time. And all the things that we did after the races in the hotels, like all the stories of, IDBA and Pro Star and drag bike and all that same stuff. Hey, can I give my sales pitch of why you should become a Top Fuel motorcycle racer?
Absolutely. This is your time to shine.
All right. So this was about my first or second year, and I'm the new guy, and Larry, obviously is the king. So Larry goes last, and I go first. And so most of the time, my guys would come and get me and tow me back, and I wouldn't even be down there when Larry was at the end. But, he's calling me, help chit-chatting me, helping me understand things. We're buddies. And so one time I'm at the end of the track the same time Larry is. And I'm like, he comes blowing down in there and he's taking off his gloves and he gets his helmet off. And I go, how'd she run? Not a word. I'm thinking, maybe he didn't hear me. How'd it run? Not a word. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's not in the mood to talk. So I go on and do my deal. Couple races later, I'm down there with Larry again. And I'm like, how'd it go? I knew he heard me. He didn't say a damn word. And I'm like, okay, maybe Larry just don't talk at the top end of the track, right? So I get it. So, as soon as you get back to the other end of the track, he's just immediately to my pits. How'd it run? What can I do to help? And I was like, okay, I got this figured out. Valdosta. And let's see, maybe 2018. It's on the big poster. I raced Larry in the whatever round. Maybe it was the final. And it was the run that Larry went to 561. And so he's gone. Like, I couldn't even see him anymore, right? And about the 8th mile, I'm tucked in going as fast as I can, and I see him turn off on the return road, and I'm like, screw it. And I'll just coast, right? So I get down to the end of the track, and I know that Larry just don't talk at the end of the track. So I roll up about 40 feet in front of him or 20 feet in front of him. Here comes my crew guy, John Jenkins, on the scooter. And he goes blowing past me like 30 miles an hour, past me straight to Larry. And I'm like, hey, I get it. He's Larry McBride, but I'm your teammate. And what are you doing? He rolls up to Larry. So I start walking over there. Oh, I missed out. On that pass while we're waiting, Larry yells, how'd it run, brother? And I'm looking around because it's only me and him down there in the dark at Valdosta. And I'm like, I know that wasn't Larry because Larry don't talk at the top end of the track, right? So I'm like, okay, that was a moment. So John blows past me, gets down there, and they're standing in front of Dennis Bradley's little crappy scooter. And John says, I think you ran a 561. And Larry's like, what? And John is trying to look at the time slip, and he hands it to Larry. Larry looks at it, and he's like, I can't see this because they both wear reading glasses, right? Yeah. So they got the reading glasses in their hands, and they're both holding the reading glasses at the time slip, like zooming in, trying to read the time slip. And I snatch the time slip up, and I go, you ran a 561 with a 1. And I swear to God, 2 little tears came out of Larry's eyes, and 2 little tears came out of my eyes. And the first thing he said was, God damn it. And I let off early. And then he hugged me. And then he hugged John, and then I hugged John, and we hugged again. And then by that time, Steve and Roland and Chuck come down, and they get down there, and we're all hugging again. Yeah. It was like being at a gay bar or something, man. It was like, I'm just telling you that, like, I never in my life expected to be in a moment like that. And I'm just feel so fortunate that I got into Top Fuel motorcycle racing. That's my sales pitch.
I can say that I'm Larry's friend enough that he set a record at South Georgia, and I rode my ass down under the scooter just to celebrate with him because I was so proud of him. And I was one of the first ones down there with him, and we was just celebrating his pass, and cheering. And then, of course, when everybody else showed up, it became a party down there at the end of the track. So it was that stuff. Well, realistically, we're all, we all have our personal goals, right? But we're living the same dream with different kind of goals.
Absolutely.
And we don't never want one of our friends not to reach a goal, but even though we don't want them to beat us if we're in the other lane, you know what I'm saying? Right. It's kind of a weird thing, but we all
set your goal against somebody else.
Yeah. Like, if you want to set a record, just do it against Ding Dong over here before you get beside me, But that's the coolest thing about us is we're caring and unique people, but we're also competitive as crap at the same time. Like, when we pull up in them beams, it's like, I don't like that person no more. But as soon as we cross him damn finish line down there, we're cool again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how me and Ben's got so deep in competition. I think he wanted to punch me a few times, and it was just the competitive in both of us. And you know, realistically, all it did was just make us better friends. You know what I mean? So we are a very unique family and very small, and that's why when if I see anybody trying to beef with my family, I put my gloves on. You know what I mean? Because that's just how we are. But,
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We miss you, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't.
Yeah, we can hear
you.
We had a great time without you, Ben.
I don't know what happened. I know. Look, Dustin will tell y'all that I specifically got Starlink because of the cast, and it's worked flawless until I had 3 engines on talk with. So I apologize.
You sound like a robot.
So hopefully I can do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll text
you're good. You're good for a second, but you come and go. But there's so many people over here that's commented. We can't. We've had you guys on here for almost 2 hours. We can start with Mitch, and if there's anything that anybody that Mitch wants to shout out and thank for his program, he can have at it, and we'll work our way down to Larry and Dave and let you guys share your love with whoever helps you with your program.
Yep. So I think if you had all of us do that, we'd be here for another hour. I'm just very thankful for all of the people that have been on my team over the last 37 years. Just a huge amount from the super gas days until today, and all the people that have believed in what I was doing and at least thought I had enough passion to help us out financially or come clean the truck and trailer. And it's a huge long list, but thank you to everyone that's helped.
Good stuff. I like it.
I'll go because I know Larry's gonna. His list is way longer than mine.
He knows his by heart too.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Mitch, but I would like to specifically thank Vantine Imaging. I know Worldwide Bearings has done a lot for us with Dave. I know Pengrade 1 has been a wonderful. Brock's gave us, I believe, Larry, the front rim on the new bike. So in NHRA, certainly the Pingles have helped a lot. And of course, my guys, kind of following in the footsteps of Mitch. I too have been out here since, I know you're going to don't laugh, 1987.
I was born then.
And I used that 37 years. So, there's been, I think I'm on my 3rd team, if you will, or 4th team. And thanks to everybody. Appreciate it. And, certainly all the organizations, I started in drag bike. Mitch mentioned Drag Bike USA, which, I think that's where I saw, which I thought was crazy. It was just still crazy. Where Larry and Elmer came to ESTA, which is right up the street, where Dice, airbrushes Larry's suits from. And, that's the first taste I got of Top Fuel is when they came to ESTA. And I thought, wow, in 1987, and I saw Elmer and Larry go down, ESTA of all places. And I thought, all right, well, that's cool. Those are my heroes. And, and here I am 10 years deep or whatever it is in Top Fuel. So anyway, that's all. I'm done. Larry, I know you've got a long list. I'll bow out, but thanks everybody.
Well, start off with, I'd like to thank Red Hill Podcast for having us 3 guys on there.
We appreciate y'all, man, being here.
You 2 guys, what y'all are doing for motorcycle drag racing, not only does it, it's coming from my mouth, it's coming from my heart. We love you guys, and we appreciate what y'all are doing for motorcycle drag racing. And, of course, first thing I'd like to thank is my dogs, right? I love my dogs. Y'all seen a couple of them with me.
Hey, Larry, a little bit ago, I texted Ben. I said, I can't believe Larry's got his wiener out.
I did. Yep. I
Again.
So, I love my dog. My family, my brother, Roland Stewart, Chuck Stewart, all these people that's been with me for so many years. And, Wayne and Donna Pingle, I think I'm going like 28 years or so with them. Joe at Trimtex, I'm well into 20 plus with him. I've just got so many people that's been behind me. Drag Specialties, we lost Fred a couple of years ago now that owns Drag Specialties, and I have built not only business relationships but friendships with my people, and everybody that's been involved with me, they know who they are. We love you guys, and there again, I can't thank of the Pingles and Jimmy Brantley and Brooke Brantley for everything that they've done for me and for our Top Fuel motorcycles. And what Dave Vantine's done for me, Mitch Brown. Mitch makes a lot of my stuff. Makes my cylinders and stuff. Dave's just been just a dear friend of mine for a lot of years. But Mitch at Monster Race Products makes a lot of good parts, as you buy from him. He makes a lot of Hayabusa blocks, and he makes Hayabusa shift forks, and he just does a great job of what he does. And he's become over the last, I think, going on 10 years, he's been a very dear friend of mine. And we discuss personal stuff and business. So just kind of same way as you and I do, Dustin. And
I love that shit, man. That's what we're here for, to help each other and lift each other up. That's what we do.
Exactly. And what you two guys spending your time of your 2 hours to talk to us three guys on Red Hill, I can't say enough. It just comes from my heart. Thank you very much.
Well, from me, I'm honored to have you guys on here. Like it blows my mind some of the people that we've had on the podcast. And right now we got the bad boys, right? And Ben texts me because he's got connection issues, and he said it means the world to him that you guys took the time to join us. So obviously we're on the same page.
Absolutely. And anytime we do anything we can do for you guys. Yeah, on air or off air, anything we can do.
Absolutely.
We're over all the way, and Ben's helping me do some stuff. We're gonna get work down here in the next few days, and
there's a couple things that we didn't get to go over, but it just gives us a chance to do this shit again. Another episode, another point of the year. Mitch has some really cool parts sitting beside him that we forgot to even mention, and we just got to talking, right? So don't throw those away. I know you're not going to, but just hang on to those, because we're going to have to talk about that, because those are cool. It would get us into another. You guys would be here another hour.
I want to forget about this, because this is what y'all did. When I want to thank Penske Shocks for what they do for you guys. All of the sponsors, MPS, everybody that helps Red Hill keep going. Yes. And what I like about what y'all do is you give back to the racer. And that is absolutely awesome what you two guys are doing. When you get stuff, you get your sponsors and people that's helping Red Hill, you give back to the racer. They win shocks. They can win, an air shifter. It's just unbelievable what you guys do. And you do it for no money. And we love you for that.
Yeah. Ben's having connection issues. We're actually supposed to be giving a Max ECU away. And we'll probably, once we sign off, me and Ben might re-sign on and try to knock that out. But
I can tell you right now, they don't come no better than Steve Nichols either, brother.
Yeah, Steve's a great guy. Me and Steve are good friends, and Steve's bought me dinner I don't know how many times, and I'm like, I owe this guy, and I sell stuff, with Steve and all that. And I feel like if I sell parts for a business, I'm an employee of theirs. I'm just trying to help them. I'm just trying to all of us grow together. Mitch, I sell his forks quite. I've sold a lot of them quick, so. And I'm drooling over a valve cover. I'm going to have to get me one of those probably. But the problem with me is I have a whole herd of motorcycles. I like them to match. So I'll probably have to get a few of them for myself. But
counting on that.
Yeah, I know, right? And but
trying to buy a new rear tire for the race.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess I started on that damn tire today. I guess I'll have to work on them valve covers to finish it off. But we are very thankful to have you guys here, and we hope everybody that was listening got some entertainment, because that's what we do. Absolutely. We're giving some entertainment. We're giving cool parts away and some stuff away, basically just for the love of the sport.
Right.
We're not after dollars. We're not getting paid. We're just doing it because we love this stuff and trying to promote our sport and help businesses that's involved in our sport. Other than that, do you guys got anything else?
No, sir. Just thank y'all again one more time for having us on.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben's going to click the stop recording button, and that should be it for the live here in just a minute. As soon as he mashes it, if it works. If it's not, I don't.